Then it's time to get locked in with Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
Whether you're a recruiting doomer or sunshine pumper, text the guys on the First Liberty Bank text line at 405-651-3439. And call your shot on the Riverwind Casino jackpot line at 405-329-9000.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
Yeah, let's get moving. It is Thursday. It is Locked In. He is Grayson Singleton. I am Parker Thune. The boys are back in the Buffalo Wild Wings studios, and boy, do we have news to discuss with all of you via the First Liberty Bank text line. If you want to share your input, your thoughts, ask a question, whatever the case may be, hit us up at 405-651-3439. Send us a text on the First Liberty Bank text line. Bank like a champion with First Liberty Bank. Text like a champion with us here on Locked In. The show is brought to you by Dorsey Jones GMC in El Reno, family owned and operated. If you're in the market for a new vehicle, GMC offers some of the most reliable trucks and SUVs on the road today, and the folks out at Dorsey Jones are eager to assist you before, during, and after the buying process as they get you behind the wheel of a GMC that suits your lifestyle. Check out Dorsey Jones in El Reno. Appreciate their partnership. Grayson Singleton, yet again, BRENT Venables has received a contract extension from the illustrious University of Oklahoma. The terms of the deal, it's a new 6-year contract. Now, what that doesn't mean is it's 6 years on top of his existing deal. I've received several texts about this already, and I've had to clarify for people. This is 6 years from right now. It's for the next 6 football seasons.
It's a new contract.
Yes, it's a new contract that will run through 2031. It's 2 years longer than the terms of the deal he was on. And it's going to pay him, well, it scales. It's going to pay him $10 million in year 1, and by year 6, he will be making $11 million on an annual basis. Grayson, what do we think? We're only, I think, 2 years removed from Joe Castiglione extending Venables in one of his last major acts as the sitting athletic director at Oklahoma. Yeah. Now it's the new AD, Roger Denny, locking down Venables for the long term at OU.
I don't love it. I like it. I don't dislike it, but I don't love it necessarily because I think it was premature. And obviously the last extension, I remember, kind of getting the vibe retroactively of what it was when Brent was first extended, and I thought that was a little premature. And then the very next season was the 2024 year, circumstances out of his control, but that year was an unmitigated disaster.
It was.
You rebound 1 year, go to the college football playoff. It was a great look for Oklahoma to host a college football playoff game and all of that, and so on and so forth. But I still got reservations about whether this type of thing is sustainable. He has not put together back-to-back winning years yet. His coaching hires have been questionable at times, even though we know he is the best defensive mind in all of the country, and I think he is a perfect fit for your environment, and he's built a great culture, and the program is going in the right direction. I just think a new 6-year contract that puts him in the top 10 of highest paid coaches based on the resume he has compiled right now at Oklahoma is a little bit premature. I don't mind, and I don't see anything wrong with letting things play out. I know in sports we try to get ahead of things and extend people before they approach free agency and all that, and I get all that. But let this play out just a little bit more. Let the guy put together back-to-back national championship contending seasons before we give him the big money that says you're a top 10 head coach in the entire country. So to me, this was a little bit premature.
Entirely fair. I respect that point of view. Can't argue with it. There's a lot of merit to what you're presenting. When I think about this extension and why it makes sense for Oklahoma, why it makes sense for Roger Denny in what is easily the biggest call he's made as an AD to this point, I would say this is more significant than retaining Porter Moser. I would say this is more significant than extending Jim Nagy. I mean, this is Brent Venables, the head football coach at the illustrious University of Oklahoma that we're talking about here. Roger Denny's committing to him through 2031. The reason I think this makes sense is because this represents the administration putting their money where their mouth is. They believe that Brent Venables is the guy to lead them into a very tumultuous era of collegiate athletics where it feels like there are new lawsuits every month that fundamentally alter the landscape of football most specifically, but collegiate athletics more broadly has never been more controversial than it is today in terms of what's happening to impact the ecosystem of college sports as we've always known it.
Oh, yeah.
And so this isn't – I think one of the immediate rejoinders you're going to get from people who are skeptical of this extension is, well, what's the market for Brent Venables' services? Like, who's beating down the door to try and hire Brent Venables away from Oklahoma? Well, I don't think it's about that. And moreover, I think Brent Venables has said and done everything to this point that would make you believe he doesn't intend to leave Oklahoma anyway. Like, he's not entertaining those calls even if those calls get made. What I think this does is, specifically for football, since that is the program that Brent Venables oversees, what is one of the major issues right now when it comes to talent acquisition and retention? What is one of the major issues that at Oklahoma they have been able to tout and promote in recent years that other schools maybe have not been? Stability. And reading Roger Denny's statement, I thought it was a great one. I want to read you a snippet from the statement that he made in announcing Brent Venables' extension. Quote, Coach Venables is elite at building culture, not just in the locker room, but throughout the entire program. Our players are drawn to him. They trust him. They believe in him. And he has a unique ability to connect with young men and bring out the best in them. What I hope this extension says to our players is that in an environment that changes every day, we're investing in stability for our program. Amidst the disruption of college sports, Oklahoma will be a place where student athletes will find consistency, end quote. Here's what this boils down to in my mind. If at any point it is clear that Brent Venables' goose is cooked as head coach at Oklahoma, OU is one of those schools that has enough resources and enough BMDs that they're going to be able to write that check to send him to Guantanamo Bay very quickly and effortlessly. Like, if they want him out of here, they'll be able to clear him out of here. If this whole thing crashes and burns, that's not going to be an issue. And so, are you putting yourself on the hook for more money if that happens? Sure. OU is one of the schools where I don't really worry about their capacity to pay that out anyway. But if that's not what you're counting on, if you are legitimately of the belief that Brent Venables is the type of coach that's going to still be employed by 2030, 2031, because he's doing a good enough job and because he's still got the vigor, the pep in his step that is required to lead a football program, well, by that point, he'd be in his 60s. If you're leading a college football program that late in your life, you still got a vigor to you, and Brent Venables certainly does, at least right now. And so if that's what you're counting on, then I think it's helpful to be able to put that message in front of recruits and transfers and even potential staff hires, anybody that's interested in becoming part of the Oklahoma football machine that's going to add value to the equation. If you can sell that individual and that individual's circle on Oklahoma being one of the rare spots in college football where you don't have to worry about imminent change and something substantial dropping at a moment's notice that could alter the entire trajectory of the program, this is a move that makes a ton of sense.
It does make sense. And just like you said with my argument, that's a totally fair and valid one. As a matter of fact, it's another point of view from the exact same thing. And I agree with that. Did it have to be done now, though? Because if you're saying the 6-year deal replaces the 4-year deal he was on, it wasn't as if Brent Venables is tied to Oklahoma only through 2027. He would have been tied to Oklahoma through 2029, which means you still got 3 more seasons of this until we really need to start talking about an extension. Now, I'm not saying wait till those 3 years expire, but let him do it again. Just let him do it again. We talk about this a lot when it comes to players, right? It says, like, okay, like 1 year's, that's cool. Let's see you do it again and build consistency over a couple of stretches of time. So if you're going to give me an extension like that, which if we're going to trust George Stoya, which we do on Soonerscoop.com, Brent Venables is $100,000 per year away from being in the top 10. He's 100K behind Dan Lanning for number 10 overall in all of Division 1. If I'm going to give you that money, at least for me, if I'm going to give you that type of money, I need to see multiple national championship seasons on end for that.
I love the action on the First Liberty Bank text line right now.
Let's do it.
It's literally like a 50-50 split. Half the people on the text line think you're an idiot for taking this standpoint on it, and the other half are like, no, amen, he's 100% right. I love this. We got legit dissension on the text line.
Let's read through them.
Yeah, by all means, let's go there. One thing I also want to point out, though, is do we remember, can we all take stock of what happened prior to last football season? Because I think part of this deal and part of the onus behind Roger Denny executing this new contract for Brent Venables is just doing right by your head coach, a guy who is one of the best and a guy who is loyal to your institution. To that point, prior to last season, Brent Venables donated $1 million of his own salary to enhance Oklahoma's talent acquisition efforts.
Sure.
As far as NIL goes, just added $1 million to the budget out of his own pocket. That was Brent Venables taking an equity stake in everything that is the Oklahoma football program. That was him saying, no, I believe in where we're going. I understand that, well, at that point, Oklahoma was coming off a 6-7 season. Things weren't great. There were a lot of question marks swirling. Said, look, I will put my money where my mouth is. I believe we're going to be a successful program again. And I'm going to give, well, I guess at that point, what would have been like 10 to 15% of his annual salary back into the pot to make sure that we can continue bringing in the type of talent that we need to bring in to compete for championships. So that was Brent Venables stepping to the plate and saying, this is me believing in and investing in Oklahoma. Well, now Oklahoma is investing right back in Brent Venables. Let's get to the text line, see what the folks are saying. Frisco Sooner says, in my opinion, great points from both of you. Frisco Sooners riding the fence. But we got to, there were others that
That's all
said,
right.
A 620 listener said, this is one of the first times I agree with Grayson. LOL. A 580 listener said, had to turn off the radio. This guy is a moron. Sooner Nation 68 also said, Grayson, you're a moron. It's an excellent move. We have one of the best defenses in the country. You're just a cowboy homer. Boom. Okay, we're going there.
Wow. Okay. All right.
The poke allegations.
Okay, cool. Cool.
Lane in California says, as a more reserved conservative Sooners fan, I don't dislike that take at all, Grayson. I like it. I love Brent, and I back him 100%. Let's be consistent and better and make it an incentive.
Let me ask you this in terms of like a math conversation. So Brent Venables has been here 4 years.
4 years.
He has 2 10-win seasons and 2 6-win seasons.
Correct.
He's not only been extended once, he's now been extended twice.
That is also correct.
When does that happen? Like, this is kind of a unicorn situation where the math isn't. This is not normal math here.
That's fair, but this is also not a normal time.
No, it's not.
Athletics.
No, you're right.
And again, what I'll go back to is the way I see it. I think the way Roger Denny sees it too. It's less about the past, more about the future. If we can adequately and reasonably have the expectation that Oklahoma is going to compete for a college football playoff berth in 2026, well then, what are we even talking about at that point?
Yep.
If we believe Oklahoma is going to be a nationally competitive football team in 2026 and that this roster is set up in such a way as to foment that type of success, that type of excellence in 2027 and beyond, then yeah, let's lock this down. Let's make sure nobody who's examining Oklahoma as a potential fit, whether they're a recruit or a transfer or somebody that we're pursuing for a staff position, let's make sure nobody has any reason to question how committed we are to Brent Venables as the figurehead of this football program for years to come, and how committed Brent Venables is to being the guy that's here at Oklahoma.
Let's go with this one. TK Sooner says, multiple titles for top 10 in money? Dumbest take ever. There are exactly 4 active coaches with a national title, 2 with 2. Come on, man. With that logic, Baker Mayfield needs multiple Super Bowls to be paid in the top 10. All right, first of all, TK, you misquoted me. I did not say multiple titles. I said multiple seasons of national championship contention. So far, you only have one, because that's the only time they made the college football playoff under Brent Venables. Make sure you quote me correctly now.
Accuracy is the paramount quality of media writing. It's what they taught us day one in J school.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
Blue Sooner says it's like Grayson forgets the mess Venables inherited and then the move to the SEC. Yeah, I mean, Venables has been through a lot in his 4 going on 5 seasons as Oklahoma's head coach. Not just professionally, but personally, when we think about his wife's battle with cancer that he has acknowledged over the years. And that has really, I mean, I have to imagine that has taken a lot out of him as a football coach. To his credit, he's never used it as an excuse. He's never let it interfere with his work or affect his work, at least not conspicuously. He shows up every day and puts in the same amount of effort with the same fire for Oklahoma football. And that's admirable. To be able to balance that with his wife's very serious, very scary health situation at times over the last few years. Ryan in Jacksonville says BV is 55, and this takes him into his late 50s, early 60s. I thought he was a couple years older than that. I didn't realize he was only 55. That's a little bit younger than I thought he was. I thought he was maybe 56, 57. Sooner Nation 68 followed back up and said, Grayson, you're not understanding what Brent inherited upon arrival at OU. Muleshoe left the coverage completely empty, and the time the program was very tight with NIL. It's what the future looks like now, Boomer.
And that's a fine take. That's a fine take. I do think the Lincoln gutting the whole roster is a little bit of an overstatement.
We talked about that earlier this week.
Like
I think it is a little overblown.
That's an overblown narrative, number one. But also, he's already been extended once. That's my holdup. That's my holdup here. And again, let me restate, because I know a lot of people are going to quote me incorrectly here. I am not mad about the extension. I would have just let things play out just a little bit more. Y'all know me. I ain't mad. I don't get mad at nobody getting paid. y'all listen to me long enough to know I don't get mad at nobody making their money.
Brian in Jacksonville says, in my opinion, this makes sense if it's giving Arbuckle a head coach in waiting designation similar to Lincoln. Gives him a reason to stay if he's legit, not risking losing any high-end quarterback talent like Jamison Roberts. I don't know that it has a ton to do with Ben Arbuckle either, because, I think Ben Arbuckle is going to be ready to go take a head coaching job somewhere before Brent Venables is done at Oklahoma.
Agreed.
This is kind of like, doing that would be kind of like Texas naming Will Muschamp the head coach in waiting for Mac Brown in 2008. And then he took the Florida job, 2 years later? Because there's just no way. There's no way that Ben Arbuckle isn't highly qualified to be a head coach and probably has multiple P4 offers sitting in front of him long before Brent Venables is ready to move on and call it a career as the head coach at the University of Oklahoma. Or worst case scenario, the Oklahoma administration is ready to send him packing. General Pooty's lieutenant said, Grayson hit us with the, let me be clear. Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Did you go Obama on us?
I forgot that was an Obamaism.
Let me be clear.
Hey, sometimes you got to make sure people quote you accurately, man.
Oh, Dan in Madison says, okay, Lincoln didn't necessarily gut the program, but they were so soft when he left it might as well have been gutted. There's a reason Brent said he's going to strip it down to the studs, because that house we had here at that point was built with toothpicks and wallpaper. Yeah, there was a lot that needed fixing when Brent got to town. And 2022 was, they took their lumps in 2022. The fact that they won 10 games in 2023, I think retrospectively is pretty remarkable. A lot of that is not just on Brent's shoulders, but on Dylan Gabriel's shoulders. He played excellent football that year. And then, we know what 2024 was. It was the season from hell, catastrophe, anything that could have gone wrong did go wrong. But then the Sooners turned it around with the hire of Arbuckle and the addition of John Mateer in 2025 and went to the college football playoff. They should be right back there in 2026. But if they aren't, then no doubt the tune will have changed for some folks regarding Venables and this extension come December or January if Oklahoma goes even, let's say, 8-4, has a respectable season, but doesn't seriously threaten for a berth in the CFP. At that point, things change. 405-651-3439. That is the First Liberty Bank text line. And this is Locked In here on the Ref, the home of Sooner fans. More OU football and recruiting talk on tap throughout the hour. Chime in if you feel so inclined, and stay with us.
Locked In is brought to you every day by Dorsey Jones GMC in El Reno. Dorsey Jones GMC is family-owned and operated with a knowledgeable, low-pressure sales staff here to help you through the buying process and half-price oil changes on Saturdays. Visit dorsey-jonesgmc.com for more information.
For over 30 years, CertaPro Painters has been part of countless memories. Every wall tells a story, and we've been proud to help write them. We are more than just your local painters, with care, craftsmanship, and certainty. From the first brushstroke to the final smile, our promise is simple. Your home, beautifully painted and worry-free. CertaPro Painters, that's painting happy. Get started today at CertaPro.com. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Hi, this is Dylan Buckingham. As a parent of 2 boys who have faced life-threatening health challenges, our family knows when your child is sick, everything changes. Suddenly, nothing matters more than finding hope. For our family, that hope came through the care and support made possible by the Children's Health Foundation. They're advancing research, improving treatment, and standing beside families all across Oklahoma. Because every child deserves hope, healing, and a healthy future. Join us at chfkids.com.
Hey, it's Tyler McComas, and you know that friend who always says, I've got a guy for tickets, and then ghosts you the week of the game? Yeah, don't be that guy. Instead, call my buddy Mike Fletcher at Totally Tickets. Whether it's OU football, the Red River rivalry in Dallas, OKC Thunder games, or the biggest concerts, Fletch has you covered. Totally Tickets is locally owned by a proud Sooner, so keep your money local. Visit TotallyTickets.com, because the only thing worse than paying too much for tickets is watching the game from your couch while your buddies are sending you selfies from the 50-yard line.
Are you living with chronic pain, mental fog, addiction, or sleepless nights? At OK Theta and Wellness, husband and wife team Dina and Chad, a nurse practitioner and neurosurgeon turned wellness coach, have helped people find relief for years. Their unique brain-centered approach uses innovative technologies to nurture your well-being and transform your body and mind. From the EECP machine for cardiovascular health and improved blood flow to the Theta chamber for sleep and emotional balance to the StemWave and Morph device for pain relief. This is a new path forward. Visit oktheta.com today.
Choosing care for a loved one is one of life's most difficult decisions. Amada Senior Care is a trusted local company owned by Greg Johnson, a former national champion, which provides compassionate, carefully selected caregivers and personalized home care built around each family member's unique needs. Bathing, dressing, meal prep, medication reminders, companionship, and transportation. Discover the Amada Senior Care difference to keep your loved one safe, comfortable, and independent at amadaokc.com.
I want you to imagine that you've planned a special evening with the woman of your dreams. You take her to dinner at her favorite restaurant. The lights are low. Her face is radiant in the glow of candlelight. You've just told her how much she means to you and that you want to be with her forever. You reach into your pocket and pull out a small blue box, and a breathtaking diamond engagement ring appears. In that moment of speechless surprise, you tell her it's from Lewis Jewelers because only the best is good enough for her. You've now imagined the perfect way to pop the question. Lewis Jewelers will help you turn it into a reality. You'll get a better diamond for your money, and you can choose from Oklahoma's largest inventory of styles, a truly remarkable selection. Lewis Jewelers on I-35 and more for the diamonds she will wear for a lifetime. Wouldn't you rather say it came from Lewis Jewelers?
Winning in business means having the right teammate. Stride Bank's commercial banking experts are here with treasury management, lending, and cash flow solutions designed to help your business score big. From local startups to established enterprises, we've got the tools and expertise you need. Visit stridebank.com. Stride Bank, member FDIC. Stride Bank on your team since 1913 with Oklahoma roots and nationwide reach.
Locked in here on the Ref, the home of Sooner fans. Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton hanging with you. 405-651-3439 is how you get in touch with us on the First Liberty Bank text line. I was planning on pivoting to some recruiting this segment, but understandably, people have thoughts on the Brent Venables extension, and so we'll continue getting to some of your feedback here on the text line. Frisco Sooner said, all of these people ragging Grayson for his take on the contract extension, how many of those same people were making fun of A&M with Jimbo or Florida State with Norvell when he had his one great season? Love BV, but that was not a dumb take. Yeah, and look, the A&M example, we love to make fun of how much guaranteed money Texas A&M gave to Jimbo Fisher, but we also understood, or at least everyone should have, that Texas A&M was never going to have an issue at all stroking the check to Jimbo Fisher to go hang out on a yacht if it didn't work out, which it didn't, and they did have to write that big check. And they brought in Mike Elko, and they're spending every bit as freely as they were now before Elko was hired and back when Jimbo was at his peak in College Station. Florida State and Mike Norvell, I mean, that athletic department financially is in some pretty dire straits and has been for a while. And that is why Norvell's extension was questioned at the time and is even more so now, because there was a pretty public understanding that there wasn't a lot of money to go around at Florida State. And in fact, Norvell would probably have already been dismissed as head coach by now if the Seminoles had the money to do so.
That's the only reason he's still the coach.
Yeah, but they do not. And so they're stuck with him for 2026 and who knows how much longer. Oklahoma's not in the same situation as Florida State. They're closer to being Texas A&M than they are to being Florida State. If ever they need to pay Brent Venables to go away, which they are trusting will not happen, they will not struggle to do so. Also, I don't know the exact terms of the buyout in Brent Venables' contract, but you have to think. A company man like him, he and his agent probably didn't leverage for $50 million in dead money as a buyout figure, just to pick a random example, if he winds up getting dismissed. I mean, what's on his contract in total over the next 6 seasons? It would be $67, $68 million, thereabouts. And so, I mean, that's the absolute top end of the spectrum, is you're paying $60-something million to Brent Venables to go away, which I would think it's much, much less than that, maybe half of that.
A texter in the state of California said, Grayson, if you feel that way, why don't you tell that to BV, also the athletic director, the Board of Regents, the general manager, have some balls.
Oh, boy.
Hey, you know what? Let me respond to that by saying, I just did. You know why? Because they can all listen to this channel.
And many of them do.
And this show is podcasted.
Uh-huh.
There's nobody who is restricted from viewing this. So if they want to come see what people think, they can come see it. Again, I will reiterate, I do not hate the extension. Quite frankly, I don't dislike it. But let me add something a little bit different than what you're probably going to hear the rest of the time that you listen to this station.
I think he just called us all sunshine pumpers.
I did not. I did not. That was not a shot at anybody.
KW918 said, I'd support the extension because BV actually wants to be here, unlike the last guy. And he's not using OU. He generally wants OU to win, or genuinely, I should say, wants OU to win. And not by skirting the rules like Muleshoe, but win in a manner that makes me proud. I support the Oklahoma Sooners.
What do you think about this? Charlie Price on the YouTube chat says, beat Texas, then I'll love the extension.
I saw a Texas beat reporter, not going to name names here. I saw a Texas beat reporter quote tweet the announcement of Venables' extension and say, Texas is 1-0, won the day. Which, I mean, that's Texas media for you. But
right.
I think that is a lot of folks' apprehension about committing to Brent Venables in the long term. And it's a very simple thing, but it's also a very significant thing when you're the head coach at Oklahoma. You have got to beat Texas. Mm-hmm. And you've got to beat Texas a lot more than Brent Venables has beat them, which is once out of 4 tries. Now, again, It's more about the future than the present. You're trusting that that trend is going to reverse and that Venables, especially once he's got a full hand of cards going into the Cotton Bowl, which he has not had either of the last 2 years and certainly didn't have in 2022. When he goes into the Cotton Bowl with a full hand of cards, you're trusting him to get the job done. Is that wise? Who's to say? But I go back to it. This extension, I think, from Roger Denny's headspace and the headspace of the Oklahoma administration, it's more about trusting the vision, trusting the path, trusting the continuity and stability factors than it is rewarding Brent Venables for anything he has or hasn't done as head coach to this point. So you're saying, regardless of what the results say, regardless of how people can shine it up or diminish Venables' accomplishments to this point, whether you want to make it look better than it is or worse than it is, regardless of what the last 4 years look like on paper to anybody, we trust that the next 6 years are going to bring the best of times for the Oklahoma football program. And moreover, with the extensions this offseason for Nagy and Venables, you get to keep the two most important figures within your football operation working in concert for the years ahead. That matters.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Chris from Knoxville says it's an interesting move. But did extending Nagy play a part in this? Now you technically locked in your GM and coach, of course, barring someone coming after one. Personally, I think Nagy would get scooped up by an NFL team if that's where he wants to go before BV leaves. Also, there was nothing wrong with Grayson's take. Now, I don't know what kind of interest there will be in Jim Nagy in NFL circles in years to come. But I don't know that there's a college job Jim Nagy would leave Oklahoma for right now. It would almost have to be an NFL gig.
Yeah, and I've never met Jim, but the part about the NFL, given obviously his background in NFL front offices, that one kind of perked my ears up because I do wonder how long it would be until somebody from the NFL said, hey, come be our assistant GM or come be our general manager, and if he would take that seriously. I've never met the guy, so I have no idea if he would or not, but that is interesting.
Yukon Bob says, let's not forget the new AD is a lawyer and contract man, to try and understand the logic. And matching which with someone that really has way more experience doing the whole money thing is brash. Not saying you're wrong, but my money is on academia rather than sports talk hosts. Totally fair, Yukon Bob. I'm going to reserve some of the comments I feel like I want to make about academia at large right now. But no doubt, Roger Denny is a contract man. I mean, that's one of the things that Joseph Harris really, really touted when introducing Roger Denny as Oklahoma's new AD is, hey, this is a guy that's very well-versed in the art of building and maintaining and executing contracts. So he's been in charge of two big ones so far in his 6 months on the job. The new Jim Nagy contract and the new Venables contract. The two most important contracts for which the new AD is currently responsible. OU Banker says half of the top 10 paid coaches had multiple playoff appearances when they got paid. Fair.
Do you want to go through the top 10 coaches, by the way?
Can I try and guess them?
Go ahead. Try to guess them.
Okay. Signetti is obviously on there. He got a huge raise.
He's number one, national champion.
Kalen DeBoer.
Kalen DeBoer is number 5.
Yep.
Been to a national championship, also won a playoff game.
Ryan Day, certainly on that list.
Ryan Day's number 4, national champion.
Dabo Sweeney's got to be on that list.
Dabo Sweeney's number 7, multi-time national champion.
Dan Lanning, I mean, that's cheating because you mentioned him earlier, but Dan Lanning's on that list.
Dan Lanning's number 10.
Marcus Freeman has got to be on that list.
When his new contract becomes publicly available.
Gotcha.
Yes, he will.
So that's the asterisk.
But been to a national championship.
Well, is Lincoln Riley's contract publicly available?
Lincoln Riley's number 6.
Okay.
But he's been to a national semifinal. Twice with Oklahoma.
We got Steve Sarkisian. Up there.
Sarkisian, he's been to the semifinal.
Kirby Smart.
Multi-time national champion. Kirby's number 2.
How many am I missing?
You're missing number 3 and number 9.
Number 3 and number 9. Okay.
Both of whom changed teams in the last 2 years.
In the last 2 years?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I was going to say Mario Cristobal, but
not Mario Cristobal.
Miami's private as well, so there may be some hang-ups in obtaining his exact contract language and figures. Changed teams within the last 2 years. Lane Kiffin.
Lane Kiffin's number 3. He's kind of the outlier here with a lack of playoff success.
Yes.
Even though he, orchestrated that Ole Miss team.
But, hey, that's LSU for you. LSU bets big when they bet. They did it with Brian Kelly. That did not pan out. They're doing it again with Lane Kiffin. I'm missing one more, you said?
Number 9.
Let's see. Who has changed teams within the last 2 years?
Don't look at the text line, but TK Sooner, you're correct.
Is it Matt Campbell?
It's not Matt Campbell.
Okay, so TK Sooner said Elko, so it's Elko?
Mike Elko.
Interesting.
Number 9.
Yeah. Well, again, that's a guy that, I don't know, have they restructured his contract at all? But he's only been there 2 years, been to the playoffs once, lost to Miami, but he's maybe most comparable to Venables in terms of what he has and hasn't accomplished as a head coach.
I would say so.
Because he had 2 years at Duke as well before A&M, so he, like Venables, has been a head coach for 4 seasons now.
Correct.
Yeah, Elko's resume is probably most comparable to Venables on that list.
I would say so, yeah.
Brad from Mustang says, come on, Grayson. Tebow never had a chance to win those college football playoff games. With BV, we are at least prepared to win it.
You don't think they had a chance to beat Georgia?
They had more than a chance, man.
What are we talking about?
That game was all but won.
They didn't have a chance to beat LSU. Granted, nobody,
nobody
did. But the game against Georgia, yeah, they definitely had a chance to win that one.
Gosh, man, I just remember walking into the Mercedes-Benz Stadium that night for the Peach Bowl just thinking, man, this could really get ugly. Because OU was kind of ravaged in the defensive secondary as well. I think they had 3 starters out.
Yeah.
And so we all kind of thought this might not go well. It was even more lopsided than any of us could have imagined. I mean, that game was over fast, and LSU just kept pouring salt in the wound. They could have scored 100 that night if they'd wanted to. 405-651-3439. Okay, let's talk some recruiting coming up next. Couple storylines I want to hit. Oklahoma continues to trend really well for a big-time offensive playmaker in the 2028 cycle. And we got to talk about a couple of signal callers in the 29 class. Yes, folks, it is now no longer too early to be talking seriously about recruits from the 2029 cycle. Keep it here on the Ref. The Home of Sooner fans locked in rolls on next.
The Ref Radio Sports Network is powered statewide by the insurance adjusters at Brown O'Haver. Fire, wind, theft, or tornado, we can help. Call 405-735-5510.
Good times are calling your name at the Showplace Theater with acts like Allison Krauss and Union Station, September 25th. Don't miss Foreigner, October 2nd. Brett Young, October 16th. On the right side of freedom. And Bare Naked Ladies, October 23rd. Riverwind is OKC's favorite casino experience.
Hey there, Ref Army, it's Dorinoka, name coming up. Host of the Dorinoka Show and lead anchor of the SEC Network. Catch Josh Helmer and myself every weekday, 9 to noon, as we'll talk everything OU and the SEC. No better way to listen to us, 9 to noon, than by downloading the KREF app, powered by Warren Cat. Just go to the App Store or Google Play Store, search for KREF, and you'll never miss a show, no matter what, no matter where you go. That's the KREF app, presented by Warren Cat. Whatever the job, whatever it takes.
Fowler Automotive is proud to be a part of your community, where our passion and values lie far beyond the showroom. We believe that families, sports, art, and culture are at the heart of every thriving community, and it's important to us that we help build the communities that our dealerships call home. Stop by any of our 6 Oklahoma dealerships to see the Fowler Standard hard at work. We pride ourselves on being friendly, helpful, honest, and fair. This is what drives us every day. Fowler Automotive, a proud partner of OU Athletics.
Feeling stuck in your current home? Now is the best time to make a move. Home Creations is making home ownership more affordable with low interest rate opportunities and special financing. Don't wait. Live like a champion today. Call Holly at 405-364-9999 to find your dream home.
364-9999 means Home Creations.
It's football time in Oklahoma, and Cayman's on Main Street in Norman is your one-stop shop for men's and women's clothing and accessories for OU. Guys, Peter Millar OU SEC polos and quarter zips are found only at Cayman's. They've been doing business for over 45 years and feature Johnny O, Rag and Bone, John Hardy, and much more. Football is here, and your OU SEC merch is at Cayman's in Carriage Plaza on Main Street in Norman. Call 405-360-3969 and let Cayman's help you with your OU game days.
Hey, this is OEC Fiber. Are you tired of slow internet? With our gig speed fiber, your whole household can stream, game, and work at the same time without buffering. OEC Fiber gives you reliable speeds up to a full gig and a friendly local support team in Oklahoma. Ready to plug in speed you can count on? Visit oecfiber.com or tap your screen now. That's OEC Fiber. Fast, local, and trustworthy.
I'm Gina Mitchell of Mitchell's Jewelry. It's the sale you've been waiting for. This Saturday is our 6-hour, 60% off sale. Shop with us from 10 to 4 p.m. and save 60%. This is the time. Treat yourself or do some gift shopping and save big. We've chopped 60% off over 1,000 amazing pieces, and we're making room for new arrivals. So don't miss your chance to have the jewelry you want at a price you will love. Doors open at 10 a.m. this Saturday. Mitchell's Jewelry in the heart of Norman at 2201 West Main Street.
Come enjoy a day of golf while supporting a great cause. The J.D. McCarty Center's annual golf tournament is September 28th at Belmar Golf Club in Norman. The tournament is a 4-person team scramble with games, prizes, a meal, and a raffle available for the players. The cost to register is $600 per team. Proceeds from the tournament help expand a therapy program for children with disabilities. To register, visit jdmc.org. Monday, September 28th at Belmar Golf Club.
This is a hilarious text on the First Liberty Bank text line from S. Rob Booman, who asked, do you think the nomination of Jaden Jackson for Polynesian Player of the Year will provide a boost to OU recruitment of future Poly players like Uhila Wolfgram? Is that an actual thing?
Wait, that's a thing?
The Polynesian Player of the Year?
I've never heard that at all.
That would explain why I saw a troll edit on Twitter today touting Taylor Wine as a preseason watch list nominee for White Player of the Year.
Wait, we're doing that now?
It was a troll tweet.
It's still funny, though.
It was hilarious. But no, keep in mind, Oklahoma does have a poly commit in the 2027 class in Sione Falila, who I think is going to be a really good player out of the state of California. Hopefully going to get the chance to get out there and see him in person sometime this fall on the recruiting trail. But, yeah, I couldn't tell you, S. Rob Booman. I didn't know that if that's a real thing, if Jaden Jackson has received that nomination, A, I would expect it. And B, that had not come across the wire for me. But as we dig back into recruiting here, Grayson, I mean, the smoke around Oklahoma continues to intensify for 4-star wide receiver Dedrick Kimbrough in the 2028 class. I think, as we talked about earlier in the week, it's fair to expect that he and Kenyon Sweat kind of become the two foundational pieces of the class at wideout for Oklahoma here in the not-too-distant future. I expect the Sooners will take 3 or 4 wideouts, but the best bets right now, at least in terms of making decisions quickly and being on board with the Sooners expeditiously, those guys are Dedrick Kimbrough and Kenyon Sweat. I think there's a world where both of those guys are committed within the next couple of months for Oklahoma. And then, you see what we can do with a guy like Carter St. Junius from Manville or Carson Lacombe from San Antonio Piper. There's some big-time targets for Oklahoma at wideout, but it kind of all starts in 2028, or at least I think it will start with Kimbrough and with Kenyon Sweat.
Especially because you should take 3 or 4 because you're only set to right now take 1 in the 27 class, that being Milan Green. So I would think you'd have to take 3 or 4 probably at the minimum. I love the 2 that are going to be the foundation. I love me some Dedrick Kimbrough. I still don't understand how Alabama's just going to let him just walk out of the state. That is wild to me. But nevertheless, good work by Oklahoma on that front. And Kenyon Sweat. I told you this a couple weeks ago. I don't care if he's playing, 4A or 3A. Fast is fast. And that kid can move.
He is fast.
So I like those 2 a lot. If that's going to be your foundation for a wide receiver class, that's an A++ to me.
We just got an inaugural rankings release for the 2029 class earlier this week from both On3 and 24/7 Sports. There is a common denominator in the top 10 and at number 1 amongst quarterbacks, because the number 1 quarterback in the country, and actually the number 1 player for 24/7 regardless of position, is Oklahoma offer Ryder Flugents out of Champion High School in Boerne, Texas. He was a guy that we saw at camp in Norman earlier this summer. Wildly impressive. I mean, he looks physically like a young Cam Newton. If I could imagine what Cam Newton looked like at 15 years of age, Ryder Flugents is that guy. 6'5", probably verging on 6'6", big, good frame, good mobility, runs really, really well for being as tall and gangly as he is. Obviously going to have to pack on muscle. You wouldn't figure anybody who's 6'5" at 15 years old is going to be fully filled out as far as muscle mass goes. But good arm talent, really seasoned thrower of the football. He can place it well. And somebody that Oklahoma has made an early priority in the 2029 class. Him and Logan Lucero right now out of All Saints Episcopal are – it is All Saints, right? I think I'm right on that. Those are the only two guys.
All Saints down in Fort Worth area?
It's not All Saints. It's Parish Episcopal. That's
in
what
Dallas,
Parish.
Parish.
Yes, Parish
Yeah.
Episcopal, yeah. Logan Lucero's at Parish, and he and Flugents are the only 2 quarterback offers for Oklahoma in the 2029 class. But there was an in-state signal caller, Grayson, that debuted in the national top 100.
Yeah.
As of right now, he is the number 5 quarterback in the nation. He is the number 1 player in the state of Oklahoma for the 2029 cycle. He's a young man that played his freshman year at Altus High School down in the southwest portion of the state before transferring in to Jones High School here in the Oklahoma City suburbs. He's going to play 3A ball this fall. He'll be a starter as a sophomore for Jones after earning the starting nod at quarterback for Altus as a true freshman last year. I say true freshman. There's only one type of freshman in high school. But Jamin Reed is a name to know. If you do not know the name Jamin Reed, get familiar, because he's a guy that's squarely on OU's radar, and that should not change moving forward regardless of how the offensive staff does or doesn't evolve over the next few years, because he's right down the road.
No, and with the quarterbacks that you've mentioned in decent proximity to Oklahoma, this one is going to be interesting. By the way, Sooner Nation 68 says, you and I know nothing about coaching leadership. Anyway, as it pertains to him, I like the kid, man. For a freshman, I saw him drop a deep ball into the bucket. He's got really good size on him, too. Really good size, got a nice little touch on the football, a little quick release, too. Can throw off platform. So I like a lot of what I saw from his freshman year. The sophomore tape, I'll be interested in the sophomore tape, obviously, as he continues to physically mature and develop. I'd love to see how he plays as his body continues to fill out. But for right now, I liked the freshman tape. I like it a lot.
Jamin Reed, by the way, is our Keystone Property Management recruit of the day. Looking for a place to call home in Oklahoma City or Edmond, or need a trusted team to manage your rental investment? Keystone Property Management is your full-service solution. Outstanding service, every property, every time. With Keystone Property Management, they can handle everything from rent collection and marketing and tenant placement to maintenance coordination, inspections, owner support. Contact our man Drew England today at 405-368-1836. Or check him out online at KeystonePMOK.com. Bo in Murray County filling us in on the backstory. Thank you for Reed. His dad was head coach at Altus and now Jones, right? Yes, Bo, there was a stopover in between, though, because his dad, Jeremy, was the head coach at Altus, and actually this offseason initially took the offensive coordinator job at Muskogee.
That's
for
right.
Dale Condit up there.
Yes.
And so he was going to be the OC at Muskogee, and they moved up there, and they were there for a couple months, and the Jones job came open. And when I was out there in Jones on Tuesday morning, Jeremy told me that he said no to the job twice. He said he didn't want to make 2 moves in the span of 3 or 4 months, but Jones was insistent, and the more he did his homework on the job and talked to people he trusted, the more he realized he would be a fool to turn it down. So he is the new head coach for the Jones Longhorns, and his son will be the starting quarterback there for the next 3 years. Jamin's a really impressive athlete. And he is an exciting white, so maybe you wouldn't look at him and think, oh, that dude could have had a collegiate future as a wide receiver. That's absolutely the case for Jamin, though. He was a guy that initially popped onto my radar when he was in 8th grade, and I think the big point of discussion at that point amongst him and his family and people in his circle was he going to go full throttle after the quarterback thing, or was he going to play wide receiver? Like, first time I ever saw this kid in person, he was playing wide receiver in 7-on-7 and dominating. So he's an outstanding all-around athlete, but quarterback seems like it's going to be his primary thing. I mean, it's nice to have a fallback if you need it. It's nice to have that type of athleticism to fall back on, and, if for whatever reason quarterback doesn't work out, you can always split out wide and play some receiver. That's nice. But, yeah, I think the mobility, the threat that he provides with his legs, in addition to the arm talent and the ability to make stuff happen off platform and on the run as a thrower, it makes Reed a really, really exciting prospect. He's collected a few early offers. Oklahoma is not one of them yet, but he's spent a lot of time on and around campus, visited for a couple of game days last fall, and Ben Arbuckle and John Kuzieski are monitoring him closely. Brian in Bigsby says, believe me, no one wants to live in Muskogee. Is that true?
Is that true? I've never been to Muskogee, so I won't
Muskogee
comment
a few
on
times. It's not the worst place I've ever been. I can think of many places across the great state of Oklahoma that I would less like to be in than Muskogee. Muskogee is not the bottom of the barrel in my experience. Blue Sooner said, big kid, big arm from Altus. I got to get that hammered into my brain. Altus. Dude threw 50 yards flat-footed in warm-ups. That's the blue part of Blue Sooner, by the way. Altus High Bulldogs. Too bad they packed up. We've got some giant linemen as well. Okay, Blue Sooner. I'll keep an eye.
All right.
I'll keep an eye on the offensive line talent coming out of Altus America. Tattoo Baker says, Stillwater? Grayson loves that place. Is he saying Stillwater's worse than Muskogee?
I guess. He also called me a struggling YouTube host.
Oh, gosh. Tattoo Baker, you got to chill, homie. You got to chill. Take it easy on my boy G-Baby here. Outlaw Devil says Methskogee. Gosh.
Is that a thing?
I feel like everywhere in the Mid-South that people don't like that's the connotation that somehow gets,
real talk.
Yeah, you use meth as the dig when you don't like a place. Whether it's Oklahomans talking about Missourians or Arkansans talking about Oklahomans. If you don't like a state, you don't like a town, you don't like a county, whatever, it's, oh, there's a ton of meth there. Ardmore Sooner says, proud to be an Okie from Muskogee. A 918 listener says, Muskogee has Chet's Hot Dogs. That's about it. LOL. Chet's Hot Dogs. I'd have to think Muskogee has some food around town that's more of a calling card than a hot dog joint. Adam from ATX says, meth is real in Muskogee. You say so, Adam. Again, I drive through Muskogee decently often.
Do you?
I've never witnessed any meth deals going down. Maybe I just don't know the hot spots.
I mean, generally those aren't just widely available to the public.
Listen, I've been through some real deliverance towns in the state of Oklahoma.
Deliverance towns.
I don't mind Muskogee. It ain't that bad. Gunny says, I live 15 miles from the Gee, and I'd rather drive to BA or Wagner. Chet's Hot Dogs is legit. Wagner, man, I think Wagner's one of my favorite small towns in Oklahoma. I like Wagner a lot. Gotten the chance to get out there, 4 or 5 times over the years to watch Alex Shield Night and more recently to watch Cooper Hackett. I specifically went to Wagner to watch Cooper Hackett play a road game because I was like, I just like Wagner.
Okay.
I want an excuse to spend a Friday evening in Wagner, Oklahoma. Good place, good people. All right, folks. We got one more show till the weekend. A Friday installment of Locked In is on tap for tomorrow. Until then, however, Grayson and I are done. We're turning it over to Tyler and Ted. on The Rush. This is The Ref, the home of Sooner fans. Thanks for hanging with us. We hope you'll choose to do the same again tomorrow. Take it easy. We'll see you then.